The last tide. The wind came in low from the Skagerrak, dragging with it a sour mist that reeked of salt and rot. The gulls didn't cry that morning, they seemed to wait. Below the bluff, the fishing boats bobbed idly, their paint flaking like sunburned skin. In the harbour town of Skelhoya, silence had a taste. Detective Erik Holm stepped out of his rusted Volvo and pulled his coat tight. The air hurt. To breathe, his lungs wheezed like bellows in a dying forge. The doctor had said it plainly. The cancer's in the bones now, Erik. You've got months, maybe weeks. He hadn't told anyone. What was the point? Now, after a year of retirement, he was back because of a dead woman. One. The call. Her name was Anna Lykke, 28 years old, found face down in the shallows near the pier. Local fishermen discovered her at dawn, tangled in seaweed, her hair stiff with ice. Number, struggle marks, no sign of sexual assault, but her left hand was gone, severed clean at the wrist. The local police chief, Madsen, had called Erik because the town didn't trust outsiders, and because Madsen still owed him from an old case. Just look it over, Madsen said. Over the phone. You always saw what others didn't. Holm wasn't sure what that meant anymore. He saw ghosts mostly. When he arrived at the pier, the sea was flat as steel. The forensics team huddled near the body, trying not to meet his eyes. They knew who he was, legend, drunk, widow, relic. He knelt by the corpse, ignoring the pain lancing through his hip. The missing hand was, odd too, deliberate. The wrist had been cauterized, not at sea by heat. Someone had taken it after she died. 2. The town that forgot. Skelhoy was dying, same as him. The cod had fled the waters, the youth had fled the town. What remained were faces carved by wind and regret. Anna Lykke had been one of the few who returned after studying in Copenhagen. She'd worked at the local fish factory, recently reopened by a private investor, Jonas Tuggerson. Jonas, a golden-haired man with expensive boots and clean hands. Holm drove to the factory. A dozen workers stood smoking outside, watching him like he was the undertaker. Inside, the smell hit like a punch. Brine, blood, and disinfectant. Machines hummed. He found Jonas in an office above the floor, white walls, panoramic window, smiling shark. Terrible about Anna, Jonas said, voice smooth as glass. She was spirited. I didn't always see eye to eye. Why's that? Holm asked. She didn't like how I ran things. Claimed the waste from our plant was being dumped, offshore. Said she had proof. She was passionate, but misguided. Proof? Holm leaned in. Jonas smiled. If she had any, she took it with her. 3. The father. Anna's father, Henrik Lykke, lived alone in a sagging house near the dunes. The door was open when Holm arrived, the air inside thick with smoke and grief. Henrik sat in a chair, staring at a photograph. You're here about my girl, he rasped. Yes, Holm said softly. When did you last see her? 2 nights ago. She came by late. Said she found something that could end it all. I thought she meant her job. I told her to rest. She smiled. Same as her. Mother used to, then she left. Did she tell you what she found? Henrik shook his head. Only that it was on her laptop. She was going to meet someone. Holm's stomach twisted. He asked for the laptop. Henrik pointed weakly toward a desk. The screen was cracked, the drive missing. Removed cleanly. 4. The sea takes what it wants. That night, Holm sat in his rented room above the harbour bar. The rain tapped on the window like impatient fingers. He stared at his reflection, grey, hollow, dissolving. He coughed into his hand. Blood. He washed it away. The case felt wrong, too careful. A message, not a murder. He went down to the pier. A boy, maybe 12, sat fishing under the lamps. Holm asked, You out late? The boy shrugged. Pa says the ghosts fish too when it rains. See anything strange the night before Anna died? The boy nodded. A car, black one, drove up from the factory road. 2 men. They dumped something heavy into the water. What time? After midnight, before the tide turned. Holm's pulse quickened. The tide had turned at 12:47 that night. He called Madsen. Get divers. North Pier. We're missing more than a hand. 5. The hidden weight. They pulled the thing up at dawn, a weighted bag. Inside, a hard drive wrapped in plastic. And oilcloth. Anna's missing data. Back at the station, Holm plugged it in. Folders opened, slow as confession. Photos, videos, logs. Illegal dumping barrels of chemical waste poured into the sea at night. Factory vans, license plates, names, and one name stood out: Chief Madsen. Holm froze. The betrayal hit like cold steel. His oldest friend, his only friend. He looked up and Madsen was standing behind him, gun drawn. 6. The truth beneath. Should have stayed retired, Erik, Madsen said, voice low. Rain hissed against the windows. You think this town survives without help, without bending the rules? Holm didn't answer. They paid me to look away, Madsen continued. Anna found out. I told her to drop. She wouldn't listen. So you killed her, Holm said flatly. No, Jonas did. I just cleaned up. And the hand. She grabbed him, drew blood. He panicked, cut it off to hide the DNA. Holm's gun was still holstered. His fingers trembled. He could barely breathe. You going to shoot me, Madsen? He asked. No, you're already dying, aren't you? Madsen's eyes softened briefly. Let me. End it clean. But he hesitated. That was his mistake. Holm moved first. 1 shot, 2. The echo rolled through the harbor like thunder. When it was over, Madsen lay slumped on the floor, and Holm knelt beside him, coughing. Blood into his sleeve. He drove to the factory, broke in. Found Jonas Thurgesson trying to pack his things. The rich man didn't beg. He just stared, pale and furious. It was never about the money, Holm said quietly. You killed a woman to keep your sea clean. Jonas smiled bitterly. You think you can stop it? The next one will do the same. Holm nodded. Probably. Then he turned the gun on Jonas and fired once. 7. The last tide. When the police arrived hours later, they found Holm sitting by the water, staring into the fog. The gun lay beside him. His breathing was shallow, his eyes unfocused. He didn't turn when Madsen's men, now leaderless, approached. He whispered, something barely audible over the surf. Tell Henrik. She was right. The sun broke briefly through the clouds, a shard of gold on the grey sea. Then the tide came in. Epilogue. In spring, the papers ran a short article. Former detective solves corruption case before. Death 2 bodies found in Skelhoya. Environmental crimes linked to Thurgesson. Fisheries investigation ongoing. Henrik Lykke scattered his daughter's ashes from the pier. In the distance, the sea gleamed faintly cleaner now, or maybe it was just the light. The town would go on forgetting, the sea would go on taking, but for one moment, justice had surfaced like a last breath before the deep.